Hello, everybody. My name's Connor. I'm going to take you through a little bit of the process behind taking digital or taking VHS tapes and converting them into digital files. So, we have a bit of an itinerary here before we get started. So, today we're going to cover why you would want to convert a VHS tape or cassettes to digital formats. We're going to cover a little bit about the VHS to digital conversion process, as well as we're going to look at some other more service or commercial based options for converting VHS, excuse me. And as well, we're going to look at some tips and tricks for the best digital quality. And at the end, we're going to have a bit of a live demo where I sort of walk you through what it would be like submitting VHS tapes for digitizing. So we'll start off with why would you want to convert VHS tapes to digital? So this is just a little bit of a comparison between the VHS and digital formats. So you can see compared to digital, VHS has a fuzzy quality and worse playback. It's limited by physical storage, which means that they can get damaged, and it's harder to share. And compared to VHS, digital has much superior quality and much easier playback. They can be stored digitally or in the cloud, which makes it easy to share with friends and family. And of course, when they're stored in the cloud or digitally, there's no age wear for digital tapes. So this is just a little bit of a comparison here that I found online that I thought sort of expressed this point nicely. You can see on the left, this is the original packaging of the movie Chicago from 2002. That's what it looked like when you bought it on VHS. And you can see the two on the right, DVD and Blu-ray. These are good examples of what a digital format might look like. So let's look at a tiny bit at what it's like from VHS to digital. So this process is easy, it's convenient, and it can be quick. There's no loss of video or audio quality, normally speaking, and it works on, just as a rule of thumb, almost any type of tape. So not only VHS, but you're also looking at other things such as Betamax or High 8 tapes. If you choose to do it at home by yourself, I would also say it's a great learning experience for technology. And this is a very simple process that can be done really as much as necessary or for as many tapes as you need done. So now we're going to look at a tiny bit about how you would go about converting your VHS or cassette tapes to digital. So this is the first option. This is the sort of do it yourself at home, and I would say for sure the cheapest option. So basically, what this is you buy something that's called a capture card, or in this case, it's called a VCR to USB adapter. And basically, what that does is it takes what's on your VCR and it mirrors it and it puts it on your computer. And from there, you can save it and you can do whatever you want with your tapes once they're downloaded. So, of course, this does require a working VCR and a working computer. Like I said, it is an easy and fast at home process. And of course, this is a very minimal setup required to sort of undertake this conversion. So these are just some options. These are examples of, like I mentioned before, excuse me, the capture cards that you might be able to buy online that would allow you to convert these tapes yourself at home. You'll notice there is a bit of a price range. You have a lot of different options depending on maybe the quality you're looking for from your VHS tapes, or sometimes I know length can be sort of a limiting factor while converting these tapes yourselves. So you can see here we have some options from Amazon, very popular online retailer. Excuse me, it's about 20 US dollars. In the middle we have eBay, which is a bit cheaper, and that's about $13. And then on the right we have sort of a luxury option coming from Best Buy, and that's about 47 US dollars. So the process is quite simple. Basically, it starts by buying an adapter, like we mentioned before, and then from there, you're going to want to actually plug your adapter into the VCR. You can see on the right, it works with, or most adapters, I should say, work with the three individual audio and video prongs there, the yellow, red, and white. And from there, that plugs into your computer. From there, usually these adapters will come with software that lets you actually mirror and place a video on your computer. So it's a matter of opening that software, and usually it'll walk you through that very self explanatory. From there, you usually play the tape on your VCR, and that is, like I said before, mirrored onto your computer and played on your desktop or laptop, which is recorded on your computer. And then you can save the finished video file onto your computer when you're finished. And of course, that also includes uploading it to the cloud if that's something that you'd like to do. So now that we covered the sort of at-home, do-it-yourself option, we're also going to cover some of these sort of more commercial or service-based options that require a bit less work, but as a rule of thumb, they are a bit more expensive. So we're going to talk about in-store VHS to digital. And so this is offered by quite a lot of stores. So you have Walmart, Costco, Staples, Walgreens, and I know a couple others like CVS Pharmacy do it. Basically, the way this works is you would bring in your VHS tapes or whatever you're having digitized, and it would be like a local delivery. And from there, usually they'll have you pay an upfront cost. And then about usually I'd say 1 to 3 weeks later, depending on store and how busy they are, you'd come back and collect the original tapes, as well as usually they provide your digital tapes now. And usually they come on either a CD or a DVD, or the chances that could be on a USB thumbstick as well. So these are just some, or sorry, these are some examples of some in-store VHS options and pricing. You can see here there is a bit of a wide range and what you could be paying for to digitize your tapes depending on where you go. You can see here, starting on the left at Walmart. This is in this specific example. This is known as Walmart Video. A lot of Walmart stores have Walmart Video now attached to them. And you can see this is in Canadian dollars, and unfortunately, they don't really provide any American costs, but it's about $11 American for the first 30 minutes and about $5 for each additional 30 minutes. And this is per one tape. In the middle there, you see you have Costco. It's about $20 for the first 2 hours, and they support up to two tapes. And then on top of that, it's an additional $20 for every 2 hours added on, sort of. And you can see here at the bottom on Costco, they offer you different formats. So in this case, they're offering you a USB, which would be a thumb drive that you get when you come pick up your tapes. And then they also offer you a different option, which is a DVD as well as a USB. And then on the right here, we have CVS Pharmacy, which I mentioned previously. This one, unfortunately, is not as common as you would see with Walmart Video or Costco. It is limited to select locations, but they do still offer the service. And it's starting about $26 when you want it burned to a DVD, and about $35 when you want it burned to a USB. And of course, they do accept other formats at all of these places other than VHS. And so now we're going to look at another service or commercial based option, which is online or mail in. So basically, the way that this works is you purchase something online, and usually they will send you a box with a prepaid mailing label. From there, you can put your tapes in, depending on how many you paid to have digitized, and you would actually physically mail your tapes to them. And so usually the digitized tapes will be emailed back to you instead of returned physically. There are options for that, however, once they're converted. And like I said, they may or may not return the original tapes. It really depends on who you go to digitize. And the good thing about online VHS to digital or mail in is that chances are these places also accept a lot of other formats. So that could be 8mm film or other types of photos like Polaroids. They offer a lot of options. So these are the two sort of big options that I could find while doing research online. One of them is from Kodak. It's called the Kodak Digitizing Box. And another one is from a slightly smaller company called Legacy Box. And that one's just called the Legacy Box. And you can see, like I mentioned before, you pay a fixed price depending on how many items you want digitized. Usually it varies from place to place, except usually an item would be considered one VHS tape, or in terms of, like I mentioned before, maybe Polaroid photos or 8mm film cutout photos. It's usually a set of around 15 or 20 photos that they would consider one piece. And then, of course, just like a lot of the other options, they give you some variety in how you would like to receive your digitized films back. Um, Kodak, I know, emails you them for free as part of the sort of upfront pace or price that you pay for their box. However, they also give you the option to have them mailed back on a USB thumb drive or a DVD. And the same goes for Legacy Box. However, you can see they do have an add-on cost for digital access, as well as an extra add-on cost if you would actually like to receive a DVD. So now that we've looked at all the different sort of options for digitizing tapes at home and online, we're going to look at some quick tips and tricks that I saw while I was researching these different options. So here are some tips and tricks for digitizing your videos and your photos at home. Number one, we're going to want to ensure that your tapes are in good condition. This is very important because chances are while you're converting at home, the amount of quality or the quality that you would see in your tapes is basically going to be on par with just playing them back on a VCR. Normally, when you do mail in, or maybe when you take them to a photo center, like I mentioned previously, they may or may not, depending on how much you pay or where you go, do some sort of enhancement on the videotapes or the photos. However, that's usually not as prevalent with these at home solutions. And of course, to minimize the loss of video and audio quality during the transfer, you're going to want to use a good VCR and a quality converter chip. And like I mentioned before, damaged tapes have a much higher chance of success at a professional service provider that might offer different enhancement options. So this is for while you're converting in store, or like I mentioned, the drop-off photo center options for digitizing your tapes. So starting off, if you want the original tapes back, you may have to ask the store when handing them in. And I know it seems like not much of a big deal asking, except I'd say it's a very important tip to remember because these are tapes which I know to a lot of people may be very, very special. So we're talking about things like family memorabilia or family memories, or even in some cases, some very expensive sort of vintage or antique tapes that have gone missing in the past. And so that's why you're really going to want to let them know, if they can, that you'd like to receive the original tapes back. And that way you have a digital copy, and as a backup, you have the original physical copy. Another important tip is you're always going to want to clearly label all of the tapes that you hand in. And even though there really shouldn't be issues with tapes going missing or getting someone else's tapes, it just really makes sure that there's no room for any mistakes on their part. It's also a common courtesy, and that way they're easy to label and they're easy to get through their system faster. You're also always going to want to make sure your tapes are rewound and ready to be converted. So just like if you were bringing a tape back to Blockbuster, you're going to want to make sure that they're rewound. And so here are some quick tips and tricks. These are while you're converting tapes online. So this is the mail-in option that I mentioned previously. And number one, I'm going to want to say that you're going to want to check that you're using a reliable business, and this is a business that preferably has been used before and has good or favorable online reviews. And I only say this because while I was actually researching for this presentation, I saw a lot of non-legitimate looking businesses, and specifically ones I'd say that are out to target older individuals who may not be as tech savvy. And usually you'd see these on websites like Craigslist, or if you're in Canada, Kijiji. They usually offer far below market rates for this sort of conversion process, although from what I've seen, they rarely actually get back to you once you've paid. Another good tip to know is that some services actually allow you to track your tapes on their website while they're being digitized. And I think this just gives everybody some peace of mind while they have their family memories out getting digitized. It's very similar to how you would go and check an online shipping label. So maybe like if you bought something from Amazon or eBay before, chances are you can go onto the website and actually track your package. Similarly to that, you can track your tapes while they're being digitized. And I know not everyone offers this, but it's something to keep in mind and ask for. And my last real tip for online has to do with that enhancement that I mentioned before. And basically, some companies may offer special enhancements, or they sometimes call it archive grading. And basically, what that is for an additional set price, they will go through and they will maybe remove some of the grain or some of the fuzziness or some of the color distortion that you would see commonly on things like VHS tapes or Betamax tapes. And I'd say this is really up to you and how you feel about having your tapes online. I don't think this really makes a difference between, family memory tapes or other sort of personal tapes. However, I think it's a good option to have if you do want that extra quality and you are willing to pay that set price. All right, so moving on, we're going to be doing a bit of a live demo here, doing a walkthrough of using one of the mail-in tape options. And so, like it says here, for today's purposes, I will be walking through how to access, how to look at, and how to use Legacy Box. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is going to Google, and I'm going to make this very applicable here. We're going to start from Google. We're not going to use their website. So I'm going to go right to Google, and I'm going to type in mail in VHS to DVD. I'll make that a bit bigger here. And so you can see in this case, this is a specific search term that brings up Legacy Box as the very first result. So we're going to go ahead, go to their website here. You can see they have a 4.8 star rating with 5,500 reviews. And this is what you'll be greeted with when you go to Legacy Box. You notice they do have a discount available right now for Father's Day, and that might be something you may want to look into if you are going to have some tapes or photos digitized for Father's Day. But for now, I think we can safely ignore that. So the first thing that I do if I have some tapes that I'd like to be digitized is I want to know that they're going to be compatible. So we're going to go up to the top here. I'll make this a tiny bit bigger here. And we're going to go to the What We Digitize section. And so you can see here, this is just sort of their layout on the website. They have their slogan here, give your past a modern update. And they sort of show you what they accept on their website. So here we have, they accept tapes, film, photos, and audio. So we'd be looking for tapes like things like VHS or Betamax, like I mentioned before. I think they do accept different sizes of film, as well as different types, like maybe it's a video film or you have photos on film. And then, of course, they have other photos like Polaroid and audio tapes. And if you scroll down, if you have any questions about sort of what they accept, maybe more specifics, or you have sort of a lesser known type of tape or audio, you can always scroll down and they have all of the options here. And of course, it applies to sort of all of what they offer. So they also have all their available film types here for digitizing, as well as their photos and their different audio options. So now we're going to go back up to sort of the top area of the website here, and we're going to look at what you get. Because I think, at least for me, this was a very important step of the process, is knowing exactly what I would get if I were to digitize tapes. So you can see here, they have quite a few options. They have, like I mentioned before, a very popular form of getting your tapes back is in a USB thumb drive, as well as an easy online digital download. And one that I would personally recommend specifically if you have maybe a television set that accepts DVDs, or you were unable to hook up a larger screen to look at your family memories, I would definitely recommend the DVD set. And these come sort of pre-set up. They work like any other DVD that you would put in your TV. They give you a menu to scroll through and look at all your different photos and maybe your tapes or your cassettes. And it's very well set up, I'd say. And of course, once again, they show you exactly what you can get digitized. So now we'll just take a tiny look here and we'll see how exactly this works. So here they mention, actually, funnily enough, the Kodak digitizing box. This is sort of what their business is based off of. However, they bring to or to the table a more affordable and a bit more user-friendly option, in my opinion. And here they have a little bit of the process of what you'd expect if you were to digitize your tapes. So, like I said, you would pay, and they would send you a prepaid mailing label as well as a box, depending on how many tapes or how many items, as they would say, you want digitized. So, you would then pack up your tapes. The tapes are sent for this specific company. This is some of their different options that they offer. So you can see here, they have sort of a drop down menu where you can choose. They have options between 2 items, 10 items, 20 items, and 40 items. And you'll notice it does get substantially more expensive if you do want to send in a bulk amount of tapes, closer to the 40 items, than just the 2 items for $60. And it does seem very expensive. 2 items for $60. In that case, like I mentioned before, that would be 2 tapes or 2 sets of 10 to 25 photos. However, this is a quality service and it's a very comparable price to other products like the Kodak digitizing box. This is a little bit about shipping. I know this is a very sort of important topic, like I mentioned before, to those who might have irreplaceable family memories on tapes or family memorabilia. They do actually offer a insured shipping option. It's guaranteed by UPS. However, unfortunately, this doesn't actually insure the tapes. It gives up to $500 in damage fees, as they say. I think it's about $10 to add it on. And of course, the chances of these tapes going missing are, I wouldn't call them zero, except I'd say they're very close to zero using a reputable courier such as UPS. But that's just something to keep in mind. So now I suppose we could do a little bit of a fake order here just to see what it might look like if you were to purchase the digitizing box or the legacy box. They're very similar. So, so you see here, we're going to be clicking on shop and we're going to be browsing a little bit of what they offer. So today I'm going to pick what they call the most popular size, which is 10 item family. You can see once again, um, they say most popular here, but from what I've seen, most people usually do 10 at a time. Just because if this is your first time doing this, maybe you have some questions about the quality or you want to see how fast they are. I definitely start with the 10 item family. So we're going to go to shop now, and you can see they bring you to this page. And this page is where you detail a lot of the specifics about your order. So in this case, like we mentioned before, we're going to be starting with 10 items as opposed to 20 or 40. And this is where, like I mentioned before, you have the option of a thumb drive or a disk set. And of course, in this case, this isn't year round, I don't think. However, they do have, I'll zoom that in a little bit, an unlimited full year download and secure backup. And basically what that means is normally they would charge extra for this compared to the one-time only download that they have listed below. But this basically means that for a year, for no extra cost, you can download your tapes whenever and wherever. The one thing to notice here, though, is that as you can see under the price, it does renew annually. So you will have to cancel that if you want to end your $20 subscription to the download. For demonstration purposes, I will add the thumb drive and the DVD set to my cart just to sort of show off what it looks like and what you might expect if you were to opt to purchase these. One thing to notice here is that it is a bit more expensive than for the 2 set item box. And I showed this on screen. It was about $6 for each of these for the 2 set item box, but you'll notice it now costs a lot closer to $20. So we're going to click add to cart here, and this should bring us to our checkout page. I'll zoom it out a little bit here just so we can see a bit more. This is what it looks like. It lists everything. So we have our 10 item digitizing kit here, as well as our $20 disc set and our $20 thumb drive. And let's say, just for an example, we wanted more than one of these DVDs. And instead of having to upload those and burn those yourself at your house, as you would normally do when you're copying DVDs, you can simply choose to have more than one in the order. And the same goes for the thumb drive, of course. You can see here, they have the digital download option. It is $20. Like I mentioned, that automatically renewing subscription fee to have them downloaded at any time, up to every year. However, if you don't want that and you only would like your memories on a DVD disc set or a thumb drive, you can in fact turn that off. But for now, actually, and so these are your shipping costs. Um, these do get more expensive because I did include, like I mentioned before, the DVD set as well as the thumb drive. So that means they will be physically sending something back to you. And so you can see we have the standard shipping, approximately 6 to 8 weeks. So quite a while. And they don't actually specify whether that is sending the box to you, whether that is sending the box to you and the whole process, or whether that's getting your memories back to you from the day that you ship it. As well as they have the expedited shipping, which is 3 to 4 weeks, so about half the time. It is an extra $15 on top of the order cost, though. As well as they have sort of their luxury option for shipping. It's called Guaranteed Rush, and it is 10 business days. So a lot shorter than the 6 to 8 weeks that you would get for free. This is the shipping protection that I mentioned while I was talking about how they use UPS. You'll notice in this case, because it is a slightly bigger order than when I checked this out using the 2 item set, it has gone up to $15 for instead of $10. Basically, what this means is you have insurance on your items. Unfortunately, however, this isn't insurance in the case that they get lost and you'd like them back. This is sort of a monetary compensation. And so what this protects up to is $1,000 in losses, as well as if they actually receive the tapes, just to make sure nothing goes wrong while they're sending them back. Maybe you didn't opt for the digital version. They will have a 30-day on-site digital backup. And of course, this does mean when you purchase this, they're going to upgrade your return shipping. And so here, you'll notice they say it's highly recommended. This is something I would agree with. I think it's worth the extra $15 just to have that backup and just sort of that peace of mind. And you'll notice they also have a statistic here saying that 1,500 people have done this basically. So for now, I will click yes. And just for, once again, exemplary purposes, let's say I'm in a rush, and so I want the expensive shipping. So I'm going to zoom out a tiny bit here just to go over the full sort of receipt. They have the legacy box itself, my 3 disc sets, thumb drive. They have a backup that's included, and the shipping protection. And of course, I'm paying the extra $30 for shipping. And then you'll see one interesting thing about this website is down at the bottom here, they've automatically applied the coupon for Father's Day. So I think that's half off exactly. And so from there, you check out. But for all inclusive purposes, that basically does end our demonstration on what it would be like to use Legacy Box. This is very transferable if you'd prefer to go with sort of a name brand company and maybe you'd like to purchase the Kodak, the digitizing box. It should be more or less the exact same process.